guys, welcome back to my channel and another video here. Today I have a swatch and review for you of the Sweet and Sour Rock Candy collection. Now this is a 6-piece collection. I believe it debuted at Polish and Beauty Expo, PBE as I will call it henceforth. And it was a 6-piece collection, but at PBE, if you were one of the first however many customers, I'm not sure what the number was, there was a 7th bonus polish that you could get with the collection. And so I did in fact rush over there so that I could get the 7th polish. This one isn't available on their site, but you might be able to pick it up in a D-stash if you are super interested, and that's why I decided to include it in today's review. Just keep in mind that the purple one is not part of the collection on their website. So this is an iridescent jelly flaky collection that as soon as I saw the promo photos, I was like, that's for me, I gotta get that. You guys know food and nail polish, my jam, all right? And rock candy is something that I've always really liked ever since I was a kid. Not just because it's eating pure sugar, of course, but because it's just really, it looks really pretty. And when I was a kid, my dad helped me a couple times to set up I think you just take like a mason jar and you put like a sugar water solution and you hang a stick upside down in it, and over the course of quite a lot of time, at least for my child brain, it crystallizes on the stick and you make rock candy. And so we did that a couple times as like a science experiment that, you know, you get to eat. Now I just kind of want to do that. This is now a rock candy making channel, okay? Let's do that. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, these polishes definitely, when I looked at them and the inspiration, they just really went hand in hand. These iridescent flakies in that jelly, that gives you that kind of semi-opaque, semi-sheer look, and those chunky flakies, they really build up on the nail in almost a dragon scale kind of way. You'll see when I show you my full hand swatches, they just pack on there, but in a very thin, controlled way, because, you know, the iridescent flakies, they're very thin, and the base is tinted enough to give you a hint of color, and these are really, really fun. These polishes are individually priced at $12 a piece on the Sweet and Sour website, or you can get the entire 6-piece collection for $66, which, if I did my math right, that'll save you $6. Pretty cool. I will say, forewarning, you'll be able to see this in my full hand swatches and in my live swatches, but if you are not a sheer polish person, if you don't like any visible nail line at all, you are either going to want to use a blurring base for these, or a similar color as a base, or maybe even just white underneath so that the color really pops, because all but one of these were definitely showing my nail line, and you'll see that in the swatch photos, like I said. But I'll probably say this in the voiceover as well. I'm doing 2 coats as my live swatch, because that's just what I do for my live swatches. I like to show everything in 2 coats, but the full hand swatches are going to be 3 coats. All of them are in 3 coats. So just a heads up going into it. I like to denote whenever I do a 3-coat hand swatch, because 2 coats is my standard. I do 2 coats for everything unless otherwise noted. So these are all 3 coats. So let's get into the full hand swatches, the live swatches, and then I will give you more of my thoughts and feelings at the end. So up first we have Wild Strawberry. I'm going to swatch these in rainbow order because I just really like to. You're going to see right away that all of these are very sheer on that first coat, like just a wash, like the lightest wash of color. And then on that second coat, you can see the flakies build up. And then for my swatch photos, these are going to be all 3 coats. And you can see that 3 coats really makes a difference. The second polish is Watermelon. I feel like this one looks quite orange in my opinion. And on that first coat, it almost looks like there is nothing there. Just like I said, it looks like my nails are stained, wash of color. On the second coat, you can see it start to build up, and those flakies, they are packed in there, but they're not packed in such a way that the nail feels lumpy. Even at 3 coats, that one was a little bit sheer. Then we have Orange, which to me kind of reads like a golden yellow, and I felt like this one had tons and tons and tons of flakies reflecting off When you see it in 3 coats, you'll see what I mean. And that kind of green reflection in it gave it a lot of character, in my opinion. I feel like it helped to obscure what visible nail line there was. Then we have Banana, which is kind of like a lighter yellow. I found that this one probably my least favorite just because of the sheerness of it. And on that first coat, there's like no color. It takes a couple coats to build up. On the third coat, you definitely see the distinction of the color between this and orange, but before that, I felt like I couldn't tell the difference. Then we have Green Apple, which is obviously green, and again, so sheer. I was so shocked when looking at them in the bottle, they seem so colorful, and then when you put on that first coat, you're like, oh my god, what did I do wrong? And then once you put on that second coat and that third coat, you actually see the color, but before that, you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I knew how to apply nail polish, I guess not. This is Blue Raspberry, obviously blue. I didn't know that blue raspberries didn't exist until I was like 25. I was shocked. This one has a very ethereal kind of color tone to it. You can see some purple in there as well. It builds up pretty well, but even at 3 coats, I felt like I couldn't get the opacity that I got with some of the other ones. And then finally we have Grape. Now you can't get this outside of like a D-stash. This was the bonus shade that they were doing at PBE. But again, this one is quite sheer. On that first one, you got the wash of color, you got the flakies, and then you can see that start to build. But again, just like the blue, even on the third coat, it wasn't as opaque as some of the other ones, surprisingly, despite these being deeper colors usually. So what did you guys think of this collection? This is one, like I said at the beginning, when I saw the pictures, when I saw the inspo, I knew I was going to be picking it up at Polish and Beauty Expo. And then when I was standing in line and looking at it, I was like, all right, yeah, I definitely want these. In the bottle, they look spectacular. On the nail, they look really nice as well. It was pretty obvious to me right away, looking at them in the bottle, that they were going to be on the sheer side. Like I said, the flakies do obscure some of that nail line. However, it's not going to fully obscure it, especially if you have really long nails. Like, my nails are not, in my opinion, very long at this point. They are kind of on the short side for me. You have to have them much shorter than this for the nail line to be completely obscured, I think, just because they're jellies. You know, they're jellies with iridescent flakies, and iridescent flakies are a little bit see-through, so you know what you're getting into here, though. I really do think that looking at this, my brain will go to rock candy. Now, anytime I see an iridescent flaky, I'm gonna think of rock candy, just because I don't know how it didn't before, but yeah, this is definitely a very rock candy-ish type of collection. I just think it looks really pretty, really cute. I think it would be fun to do a Skittle with some of these because they just, you know, they're all the same finish, just different colors. I like collections like that because it makes it really easy to make a Skittle. And the iridescent color flips are especially vibrant, which if you're gonna put a shimmer or any kind of iridescence, for me, I like it when it's really drastic, so these are a yes from me. As far as the naming convention goes, I mean, they're pretty simple. It's just, you know, orange, banana, green apple, you know, it's just the name of the fruit color corresponding flavor. So it's not like anything, you know, crazy, but at the same time, the names of the rock candy flavors are literally just this. So it suits it. You know, usually if a name of a polish isn't like out of this world fun, I kind of get like, I don't really like it. But in this case, it suits the collection. And so I have nothing to say about it. I think it works well with like the inspiration. Although, like, I don't know, I just feel like orange is the most unfortunate fruit color combo name, because if you name anything after an orange that's also orange, it just seems like you're just calling it the color orange. I don't know, is that just me? Maybe I'm just being silly, but I do think it's funny that you're like, yeah, it's orange. Like, yeah, I know it's orange. No, it's orange the fruit. I don't know, whatever. Picking a favorite, I always kind of look at a collection before I swatch it and try to decide what my favorite might be. So going into it, I thought my favorite was going to be the purple, because in the bottle, the flakies look the most color changing and the most interesting, and also purple is just one of my favorite colors. So I just kind of assumed that this one was going to be my favorite, but it ended up being the pink. I think it's because this one was This is called Wild Strawberry, by the way. I think it's because that pink to green flip is one of my favorites, but also it was the most opaque. The flakies really packed on in a way that it reminded me of like fish scales or dragon scales, and I really, really liked it. Not to say that I don't like the other ones that are sheerer, but it was just something about how opaque this one got that it just was the most bam in your face. And I'm nothing if not obnoxious, so I really like obnoxious things, hence why I'm dating Robert. I always like to highlight if there's any issues or anything with the collection. In this case, no issues that I would speak of. The only quote-unquote issue is like a personal preference thing. So like I said, if you don't like visible nail line, you're either going to want to skip these or get a blurring base or paint these over a white or similarly colored base so that you get the full impact of the color while still covering up your nail line. Also, just want to mention one more time, the purple was a Polish and Beauty exclusive. So if you do want this, you may have to look for it in a D-stash. But the collection, honestly, it holds its own without the purple. You don't need the purple to feel complete with these colors. I really do like them. I was kind of concerned too that the orange and the yellow would look similar, but I feel like they are distinct enough that I am happy having them both in my collection. At the same time though, I would say that you could skip one or the other if you wanted to. If I had to only pick one, I would pick the darker one. Just that's my personal preference, but they both are very pretty. So my overall thoughts on this collection, it is very fun, very summer, very cute. It kind of like brings me back to a childhood nostalgia. You know, when I was a kid, we used to go to like penny candy type stores and I would love getting the rock candy. I like the rock candy stick with the little wooden ball at the end. I don't know, they just feel so fancy. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this collection. I'm excited to do a Skittle with it. The only issue I'm having is which 5 do I use? Which 2 do I leave out? It's really hard when you have more in a collection than fingers on one hand. So that is my really only issue with this collection, is deciding which ones to remove from my Skittle. So let me know if you guys either picked this up or are planning to pick this up. If you haven't used Sweet and Sour Polish yet, I highly, highly recommend them. They are a wonderful indie brand. I have really gotten into them only since last Polish and Beauty Expo. But their inspirations are really good. Their execution is great, and I have another Sweet and Sour review coming up for you later on in the next couple of weeks for a trio that they released. It's an older trio, but it's a good one. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.